Hi, this is Sarah, the Stitchin Mommy, and it's Monday, August 30th, 2021. I'm here for my weekly cross-stitching update. I have a little bit of haul and obviously progress and some plans. So a little bit of quilting at the end as well. We'll see if Smokey joins us at any point. Let's get right to it. I got some happy mail this week because I won a giveaway over on the Witchy Stitchers channel, Charlene and Morgan. Charlene was getting rid of some stash, so I got this orchids chart, which has some hummingbirds in it as well. These little poster versions, or the bigger one. And then this one, Hummingbird Quartet, which has this big one, and this big one, and these two medium-sized ones. So they're all super pretty. Yay! So thank you. Adding those to my stash. And then last week I actually had this and forgot to share it, but Fat Quarter Shop sent me one of their new stitch card boxes, and it comes in 3 different colors. This is the teal one. There's also dark blue and red. There's a red one in the picture. And I guess you can store anything you want in here. You could store those little tiny stitch card patterns. You could organize fabric, floss, even like little like finishing fabric or quilting, tiny quilting squares, paper crafts, anything, I guess. I haven't decided yet what I'm going to use mine for, but here's mine. It's pretty cute. It's got a little handle. You can put a label in here when you're ready to, when you do know what you're going to do with it. And it comes with a set of alphabet index dividers, which is really fun. I was thinking you could even maybe do diamond painting resins in here, so that's an option. I haven't decided yet what I'm going to do with mine, so if you have any great suggestions for me, let me know. So there's that. That was fun. And I guess let's just get right into it. Hopefully this sunspot won't be too much of a bother. I'm hoping it'll leave over the course of the video. So first off, we'll do our travel stitching, which I can start as always with my temperature piece. I worked on this. I wasn't able to stitch in the car on Sunday, but I worked on this during the preseason football game, Denver Broncos. Yay! Here's Smokey. Hi. You coming to say hi? Hello. Here she is. You got her a little sooner than normal, so here we go. You gonna take a nap, or are you gonna be crazy? So this is temperature typography, the one I'm doing this year. Last week I showed my new design temperature butterflies, which I'll be starting in maybe earlier than January because there's an outline, but I'll get to that in a minute. Here is where I got to on this. Whoa, don't fall off my lap. Okay. This is on 28 count. 1/1 full crosses. It's like an ice blue, light blue, pale blue, mystery even weave. And I got my S finished, which is very nice. Not really ombre because it goes from green to red, but it's a gradient. It didn't flop back and forth like sometimes it'll go from warm to cool to warm to cool to warm to cool. It went cool to warm, skipping some colors here and there because it warmed up kind of quickly at the end, but it was nice. I was like, oh, here's just stair steps. So that was fun. I'll be able to do T and possibly the S in September before I see you next time. September is the longest month letter-wise, so there's fewer days per letter in September. And while we're talking temperature things, in my Etsy shop, there's lots of temperature designs. This is Temperature Garden. That was my first one. And I have a lot of other ones, tree, balloons, quilt. And my newest is butterflies. And I decided I'll put a picture here because I totally forgot where I put the printout of my butterflies, and then I forgot to print out a new one. And I don't want to restart this video over again. So I decided I had some nice gray green fabric that I've used now I started the Cross Stitch Studio what's it called? The mystery stitch along this year on that, and I decided I didn't really want to keep going on it. Then I restarted Daisy Girl on that piece. This is a scrap of that same fabric, and it's really hard to see. It's kind of washing out. It is very gray green. It's not super green. It's got tiny little streakies, but I thought it had enough green in it that I think it would be a nice color for my butterflies. It will be 32 count 1/1, so it'll be really tiny, but that's what this one is. This one is 32 count 1/1. It's 32 count white MCG Textiles linen. So this will be a step up from that because it's, what do you call it? Even weave. So I think it'll be nicer than the linen was. And I might start in on the outlines of the, she's playing in a box over here. Smokey is. I might start in on the outlines of the butterflies this year, and if for some reason I decide I don't like it, I'll switch fabric before the new year. So I'll have to wait and see how that goes. Okay, I had to take a cardboard box away from Smokey. She was being very loud with it. So my other travel piece that I've been working on is Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery Cozy Cafe Club, and they did come out with part 6 this week. I haven't started it, but I did finish part 5, so yay! I can get started on this week. This is another one I'm gonna have to edit because I was hoping to not have any coffee drinks on here because I don't like coffee at all. So I already changed this one to raspberry cocoa, and there's already Earl Grey tea over here. So I wasn't sure. They have this as a cute white diner mug, which is classic for coffee, but when I'm in a diner, I'm not gonna get coffee. So I thought maybe I would do black tea or Lipton tea, you know, like something classic that you could find in a diner. So if you have any ideas, feel free to toss them my way. So that's the new one. But here is my progress. Mostly just working on this in the car during school pickups, but I did work a little bit one other time during Simpsons or something in order to get it finished. So this is on 25 count vintage cloth in the color Prim. You can find at the Fat Quarter Shop, and 1/1. And I changed the border colors to be similar but fancy flosses. So here's part 5 all finished. Sparkling Water, Fruity Bubbles is the label on there, and there's beads for the dragon fruit and kiwi, which look a little over the top because my fabric is so small, and they're petite beads, but they still stick out a lot. So it's all right. At first I was thinking, well, maybe I'll only do beads on things like these raspberries where they're like not the actual mug, because if it's on the cup it might be weird. But then I realized I had put the beads on the cherry flowers over here, so I thought, well, okay, cherry blossoms. I left the beads out of my strawberries because they were actually inside the drink, and I thought that was not appropriate to have beads like poking out if it's meant to be inside the drink, inside the glass. But this one, I figured it's on the outside. Okay, I'll do it. It seems weird that there will be beads on a can, but you know, it's fine. So this week, starting today in the valet line, I will be working across the little lace shelving decorative thing along here to get to the bottom, and then start working on the cup. I don't know if I'll stay with the borders or just start in on the cup right away. We'll see. The other thing I thought about changing, oh no, is this is S&J Diner, which is for Jack and Sugarloaf, which are the two mascots of Frosted Pumpkin. So I could leave it that way, but since I have an S initial, my husband has an N, I was thinking maybe I could do S&N Diner. So we'll see. I'm kind of leaning towards that because I'd only have to rechart one letter. And my husband doesn't like coffee either, so I really can't put coffee in there. Although if we had a diner, I'm sure we would serve coffee. Anyways, I didn't do any more on my Prim Stitch series that I got started last time. So let's move on to my Mill Hill kit, which I'm doing every Monday for Mill Hill Monday for just a couple links of thread before I move on to my focus piece. This one is called Hummingbird. And what did I do this week? I don't remember. Let's find out, shall we? Yeah, I think, I mean, it's been a long time, it feels, but since last Monday, but this is where it's at now. And I think I finished the white and then did some of the light blue to go along with the red, white, and blue challenge that I was participating in on Facebook. So I did the red first and then part of the white last week, and then, you know, 2 weeks ago, I guess. Then this time I finished the white and did some light blue because the dark blue was already finished. That's closer to our flag color, but I figured light blue is still blue. So this week, I don't know yet what I'll work on. Likely something up in here. So if it's some beads, that would be fun. I might start beading this week. We'll see. I could pull that out in the afternoon on Monday and then hopefully get to a good stopping point so that the evening stitching can be just my focus piece. Let's see, I guess we can go on to what else, the regular stuff I worked on this week. So my first pick for last week was the Winter Wonderland Band Sampler by Chatelaine. And this is a non-traditional chatelaine because most chatelaines are mandala style. Where's my cover picture? And this one is a band sampler. So this is what that looks like. Computer generated mock-up, but I really like it. I was working in this scene with the animals and the birdhouse. So pretty happy with where I got to. I think I worked a little bit more than 2 days on this just to finish a section. It's partly what happens when I'm trying to get a certain amount of stitches for a challenge group. I tend to want to finish that goal, and then I do a little bit on it the following day just to finish the goal, and then I move on to the next piece. And it is a nice motivator to get a little bit more done than I might normally. So this is on ice blue linen, Belfast linen, 32 count, 2/2, except for these little animals. I'll do my before and after up here because I finished the deer, including the back stitching. He's 1/1, and then I finished this birdhouse, including this long stitches and back stitching the little seed ball thing. And I started doing some more, I did some 1/1 on the bird, and these 2 squirrels got started as well. So yeah, yay! That was fun to work on. So the next time I work on this, I'll probably keep working on those little bitty animals, maybe do some more snow, and keep working down. So then the next one I worked on was To Everything a Season sampler, which is an old Drusilla kit that I have. You can also find this now on Cooler Design Studio website under the name Traditional Sampler, and it's either print or PDF. Somebody checked it out and let me know. You can get a print copy, but not a kit. So I'm using all the kit stuff. I told you I was thinking of working up here in the corner in the leaf, and I did not, because I ended up finding a challenge this would work for that said stitch on something with a container you could put stuff in, and I'm like, well, there's a big basket here. So then I thought, well, let's just work on the basket. I still had more to do. So that's what I did. I figured it'd be a nice way to get a lot of stitches quickly too. Less confetti. So here is To Everything a Season sampler. in all its glory. This is on 28 count even weave that came with the kit, and here's the main part I worked on. I updated added like 3 colors to the basket, and I think this darkest color, there's a little bit more over here still, and then there's an even darker brown in this bottom thing to fill in some of these parts. So there's a little bit more to do. Some of these X's or grid lines in the middle of the basket are just left blank. So that's kind of cool. Gives it a texture thing. And I did actually stitch a couple stitches up here, which will be in the center of those roses, but very little. Mostly it was just the basket. So yeah, I love the colors in this one. It wasn't too bad to work on, so I do need to keep pulling this out regularly. And then my last one was In the Beginning, which is a dimensions kit. And I got a note from someone saying they found one on eBay this week. So it is still available once in a while as a kit. It's not available anywhere else that I know of, but it's super cute. And I've been working on this since college, so it's been over 20 years. And it's still not done yet. I think for a while, I think I lost either the fabric or the pattern or vice versa. But now I have everything and I'm working on it and giving it some love here and there. So this is where it's at now. And as you can see, this is 18 count antique white Aida. Really tiny margins because I think I was just using whatever was in the fabric store or the craft store at the time. So I first started on the half stitches of this light blue, which is in the border, but it's also here behind the moon and the stars. And then I came back through with light green and did some of those leaves too. So that's what I worked on. I think it'll look like more than it felt like. It felt like it went really fast, and like I wish I had done more, but weekends sometimes can be busier than you think. And I just realized I forgot to share my daily stitching piece, Waterfall in Yosemite. That's this one by Golden Kite. And I did get to work on this every day, so that's good. On average, 65 stitches a day. There was one day I did less, but most days I do more. So it's fine, it evens out. And I am enjoying, I'm working along the top here, so you can start to see some of these trees and the curves of the rocks and everything as I'm kind of picking some of these colors that are on the edges here. So that's pretty fun. Starting to see, there's still a little bit more sky, but I'm getting more definition in the mountain, which is really cool. So here is Waterfall in Yosemite, and not sure how well I'll be able to do the before and afters in a way that you can see. Maybe I'll do one like this too. But I have done some of these like purpley blends. There's along the edge of the waterfall there in the middle. This is the waterfall. And then some more along the edge of this. And I think I filled in maybe some of this since I saw you last. I filled in little bits all along the whole thing here. This is 18 count antique white Aida also, and 2 strands over 1 block, which is how I like 18 count. I don't think I said that the In the Beginning is 2 strands also. To Everything a Season is 2 strands, and I think the chatelaine is, it varies. I also was able to work on my drawn thread piece, Those Who Sing, because I visited with Colette, the highway stitcher, this week, and this is her birthday start from last year, and so she's really been focusing on getting it done, and she's made it almost, I think, about to here, top down. So that's exciting. I'm still up in the top, and I pulled mine out to work on with her. And Smokey's gonna try to play with my whips down there on the ground, which is not a good thing. Okay. So I'm doing this on, I'll put it on this to show the fabric a little bit better. This is 32 count Mushroom Slushy by Fabric Flare. It's an even weave, and I'm doing it 2/2. And these, they have a, it calls for Gentle Art, I think. Gentle Art or Dinky Dyes, and I'm just using a conversion that is fabric or threads that I already had. There's a couple colors that are the same that I actually had, and then but most of them are ones I just picked out of my stash with overdyed cottons and said, this looks close, let's use that. So this time I worked on the brown stems, including the start of the tree, yay! And then I went back in and started working on these flowers, which are satin stitches. And there's a bigger flower right here that had a few more cross stitches in the middle that I wanted to do before I satin stitched those. So I have the light pink on my needle here. I wanted to get a little bit more done on a few more flowers before I went in and filled in the centers, because the centers will be a specialty stitch also. So that's really fun. I ended up using 3 strands on the satin stitches because 2 strands wasn't enough. The chart calls for 1 strand of silk on 32 count because maybe silk is fluffier than DMC or cotton, but I'm using cotton, and 2 strands on 32 count, 2/2, that's what I like. So I'm doing 2 strands for my cross stitches. They recommended bumping up to 2 strands of silk for their satin stitching, and I tried it with 2 and then I went ahead and bumped up to mine to 3. So they recommend 1 strand for cross stitches and 2 strand for satin. I'm doing 2 strand for cross stitches and 3 strand for satin. So, and I think it looks great. So happy with that. I'm happy to get a little bit more, and I really enjoyed working on this. So I think I need to do a little bit more on it other times, not just when I talk to her. Especially because, oh yeah, these things. Especially because she's hoping to finish hers by the end of October so she can have another birthday start, because it's kind of what her and a birthday buddy of hers do, is they start something on their birthday and then try to finish it by the next year and start something else. So I need to just work on this on my own as well so that I can get it done. And I think that's everything for what I worked on this week. So you can start going into plans, which I have one more spin to do for Arbitrary August. And this is the Tiny Decisions app that I got. It's a free app, so you can just type in whatever you need to do, whatever you want to choose from. And today and tomorrow are the last 2 days in August, so I have one more small rotation. So I have 4 choices left on my small wheel. So we'll see which one I get to do today and tomorrow. Yay! I was kind of hoping that it would not be Halloween Fairy, because I am planning to work on Halloween Fairy near Halloween. So, Blackwork Flower with butterflies. That's a fun one. So I will go get that and share it with you, as well as what I'm planning to do the rest of the week. So stay tuned. Okay, so I'm back with my Blackwork Flower with butterflies. This is by Leslie Tier, and you can find this pattern on her website to download, and lots of other fun blackwork designs. She has a few other things that are not blackwork. These butterflies are stitched in as well as the center, but all of the petals and leaves are blackwork, which is really fun. And I kitted this up with a bunch of fancy floss. I am using DMC 310 for the black, but I have a bunch of Victorian mottos in kind of pastel-y, sherbety, summery colors. not really too pastel, but sherbet. And some Petite Treasure braid for the little bits of gold sparkle that are there. And this is on a piece of 28 count light blue even weave that you can find at Hobby Lobby. It's the Artiste brand. So the cross stitches are 2/2. The back stitching is as called for, which is either 1 or 3 strands, I think. So this is where I'm at right now. It looks like I've stitched the butterfly, but I still need to outline it. And so I might do that just to get it to a good stopping point, because it doesn't look like I really want that back stitched. And then maybe I'll come in and do the black work of this petal, possibly. Since I'll have a 1 strand black on my needle, most likely for back stitching the butterfly, then I can do that petal. That might be what I do, but I'll have to take a look at the pattern and see if there's somewhere else to go. These petals, this one, and possibly this one, are all fully done. This one looks like it's just started, so the rest of this petal will look like this. So you do a few cross stitches, and in this particular design you do a few cross stitches for color pops, and then you come back over it with a bunch of the delicate black work. So it's pretty fun. So I will get to work on that for a couple days. And that will be a wrap for Arbitrary August 2021. And I decided that coming soon, hopefully I can find time this week, I am hoping to do a whip parade of all my projects. I believe I have 80, probably not counting some of my travel things because they kind of avoid my whip list. So I don't know. Yeah, anyways, I have at least 80 projects at the moment. And I decided last year that January whip parades don't work for me because my Etsy shop explodes during the turn of the year because of all the temperature pieces that I have. So it's very busy during that time of the year. Not a great time to pop in a whip parade, especially since all my family is usually home then too. Summer, I thought, oh, I'll do a mid-year one around in July, but summer ended up being too crazy also because of my family being home. So I thought, well, I like to do Arbitrary August with pieces that I haven't yet worked on in the year to try to get as many projects done, worked on it at least at some point throughout the year. And so how about I do a whip parade right after Arbitrary August? So I think going forward, and it's near my birthday, which is also fun to celebrate looking at all my pretties. So I figured that will hopefully be my new tradition, to do my yearly whip parade early September. So look for that, hopefully. And then I'm thinking my birthday is Tuesday, but Monday is Labor Day. I'm thinking I'll probably work on my birthday start Friday all the way through till Tuesday to give it full 5 days. So I may not come back to film another weekly update until Wednesday next week. So never fear, I will be back, and you'll probably see a whip parade in between then. So it'll tide you over. If it doesn't happen, I'll keep trying the next week, but I'm hoping to get it done this week so I can be consistent about the very, very beginning of September. Having something like that every year would be great. So going forward into September, which starts on Wednesday, I wanted to work on Rosetto, which is my counted canvas piece. And I was thinking of working on this on my actual birthday because I was planning all my new starts for weekends to give them 3 days each. And so I thought, what do I want to work on my actual birthday? I thought, I really want to work on my counted canvas piece, so let's do that. And then there was a challenge prompt on Facebook that said to work on your most expensive whip. I think this one counts. I'm not 100% sure because I don't keep track of that sort of thing. But here is Rosetto, and this is counted canvas, so you do it on mono canvas. This is 18 count mono canvas, and you draw this one particular, you draw the squares, and then each square has a unique stitch. It called for all sorts of crazy pearl cottons and silk pearl things and fancy rainbow gallery threads that were kind of expensive. So I figured, well, I will move this up to this week so that I can use it for that prompt. And then it leaves my birthday open to maybe get a few more extra days on my birthday start. So that works. And worst case, if for some reason I'd rather come back to this, I still can. I could also, one of the ones on Arbitrary August called My Story by Jeanette Douglas that hasn't gotten called yet. That's another one that's kind of a contender for my birthday because it's got lots of specialty stitches too, and I haven't worked on it yet this year. So we'll kind of wait and see what I do on Monday and Tuesday, but likely I'll probably just keep going on my my first birthday start, which I'll share with you in a minute. So here is Rosetto. And this is the mono canvas. I have it tacked to stretcher bars, and this is how far I've gotten. So far, the center one is unique. There's even some sparkle in here. These two match, and then these two, and then these two. So I forget where they are sending me now. It might be these ones. I'm not 100%. I don't remember. It could be some of these too. I guess we'll see. They have a specific order in the instructions of where to go and what to do and diagrams and the whole thing. So I've never done these kinds of things before, but the instructions are very, very helpful and obvious. So I think you could do it too. And I did a thing. I was on 123 Stitch. I forget why. Does one ever need a reason to go on 123 Stitch? But I was on there and I noticed, oh, you know what? Somebody else mentioned in a comment, I think, that they were going to work on, their birthday was in September also, and they were going to work on Sapphire. This is from Needle Delights Originals, and I believe that's the same brand that Sapphire, she makes one called Sapphire, which is the September birthstone. So I thought she was going to work on that for her birthday in September. And I thought, oh, well, I'll have to go look at that. I've always enjoyed the Sapphire being the September's birthstone because I like blue also. Pink is my favorite, but blue is next. So I think that's why I was on 123 Stitch. I was looking for that design. And then I noticed that another one that has caught my eye in the past caught my eye again and was on sale. So I looked at my discretionary, which we have a line item budget for some discretionary money, and I hadn't spent much of it for a while, so I was it was building up, and I decided to go ahead and just do it. It wasn't already on my wish list, so no one's probably going to get it for me for my birthday, so I bought it for myself for my birthday. It's not here yet, but hopefully by next week I can show you. I bought the pattern, bought the canvas, and I bought all the specialty threads that 123 Stitch carried, which is not everything. I will then, once I have the pattern, I'll double check all the other threads that it calls for and kit the rest up at my local needlepoint store because they're really helpful and I want to give them business. Their prices are great. So I'll kit up the rest locally, and I can usually just send them an email with all the ones I need. They'll order them for me and let me know when they're ready. So it's really perfect. I don't have to go down and hope they have the specific one that I need. So I will do that. And I'm very excited. It's called Color Blocks. It's like a rainbow gradient of all the different colors with a million specialty stitches, a whole bunch of colors. It's going to be great. So that will become my most expensive whip. I don't know when I'm going to start it. I don't know. It's bigger than this one. This one is 8x8. That one's 12x12. And I don't know if I should be a good girl and finish Rosetto first, or if I'm able to buy the rest of the threads before New Year's, I might make that my New Year, New Start. Or if I need to finish Rosetto first and I need to save up discretionary money to pay for the rest of the threads, I might wait and make that next year's birthday start. I don't know if I can wait that long. So we'll have to wait and see. But that's coming and that's exciting. I think counted canvas is really a good medium for me because I really like specialty stitches and pretty threads, and it's kind of a perfect marriage of those two. So I'll be working on Rosetto Wednesday and Thursday. If I feel like I need to do more on Rosetto to finish a section, I will either continue it into Friday before starting my first birthday start, or wait until Monday and Tuesday of next week and pick it up again then. It kind of might depend on how much is left of a section. But my first birthday start will likely get started on Friday because I want it to be I want each of these to get a full 3 days at least. This one may end up getting 5 days. But this is Hibiscus Fairy by Heaven and Earth Designs, artwork by Meredith Dillman. And I think she's really pretty. She's got beautiful colors, and like I said, pink is my favorite color. I like hibiscus, they're pretty. She's holding a cat. There's not a lot to dislike about this, and I am doing it 1/1 full crosses on some 28 count Monaco. I got this tube at Fat Quarter Shop, and it's just big enough. It's kind of a tiny bit too small. If you were needing extra fabric in your margin for Q snaps or whatever, it might be too small. But because I stitch in hand, I think it's like a 1 3/4 margin on the top and the bottom, possibly. But there's really nothing to crop out of this one, so I'm going to go ahead and do it and love it. So I will be starting this 1/1 full crosses because she has some line drawing in here. I think the full crosses will be better fit than a half cross. So even though most of my large projects I do a half cross. So I'll get this out and I'll serge it, and I'll serge my temperature butterfly fabric while I'm at it, get those prepped. I also have my Gracious Era kit that I'm going to be starting for Terry Lee Craft's birthday on the 21st, and I need to get that serged as well and thread sorted. I'm not sure when I'll get to that, but it's another thing that's kind of in the back of my mind. And I'm recharting the Friends of the Library needlepoint on my pattern charting software. I use WinStitch Premium. I get a few people asking me that. That's the one I use. Yeah, so there's lots of little things here and there, and I really want to work on my diamond painting again too, so that might come out on my birthday. It depends. It depends on how much I fall in love with my new start. If I just want to keep going, or if I feel like diamond painting or dabbling in more counted cross stitch, counted canvas, I mean, or quilting. So I will share my quilting now because I think that's all of my cross stitch progress. I will probably come back on Wednesday just to make it a clean break. I don't know that I want to spend my whole birthday filming and editing, so I think I'll just wait until Wednesday to film again. So meanwhile, let me share you my haul that I got for making the So Happy quilt. This is a quilt and stitch along that the Fat Quarter Shop is doing. They pushed it back a week because they were having some fabric supply issues. So if you use the link in my description box to the So Happy page, a lot of the things will say notify me when available. They're not quite ready yet. So I think they're planning to release a blog statement on the 7th, which is my birthday, yay! So I'm hoping that the cross stitch pattern and everything will be available starting the 7th. I got this already, and they sent me the funds for supplies as well. So this is all graciously courtesy of the Fat Quarter Shop, and I'm very excited to work on this. So I also have a new affiliate link for the Fat Quarter Shop down below. So if you like any of the Fat Quarter Shop stuff that I share once in a while, You can use that link and then I'll get a little bit of a percentage if you end up buying something. So same with the Amazon shop link that I have down there. I think I'm supposed to disclose that. So anyways, I bought or picked out a whole bunch of things. And the first one is the Spelling Bee book, because the specific instructions for how to do all the different elements are found in this book. So all the different letters, and as well as the star and the sewing machine, all the particulars are in here. So this is a really fat, fun quilt book. When I was just laid out everything for an Instagram picture this week, my son noticed this little puppy dog right here. He likes dogs. I do not, but there's another one up here. I guess it's really tiny. I thought there was a bigger one. And I was gonna earmark it for you, but of course I didn't. Anyways, he wants me to make him that puppy dog. So at some point, I will hopefully look through my scraps and see if I can find in good colors for that and make him something with that puppy dog. Maybe a little blanket for his stuffed animals or something. But if someone expressed interest, then yes. Especially my boys. I wanna accommodate. So I ordered a bunch of, because it's a stitch along, and I'm stitching it as kind of a, not really a model stitcher, but somebody, like whoever made this is the model stitcher, but as someone that other people can kind of go look and see their progress. I'm going to try to keep up with all the different releases, which these dates I think will be changing, so don't look too closely, but it was a bigger picture than this one. I wanted it to be similar colors. They requested to use Lori Holt or Riley Blake fabric, if possible, to go along with this. And so I didn't have any of that already, since I haven't quilted in over 20 years. And I decided, and I couldn't get the exact fabrics, probably because of they're waiting for some fabric to come in. So I was just looking at what they did have available on their website, and I found a whole bunch of things that are kind of sewing themed, and I thought, I'll go with that. I'll do my own thing. It'll be close in color scheme, but mine and unique. So I am a garment stitcher as well. I have made clothes for myself starting in 8th grade. So the backing fabric will be this vintage ladies fabric with lots of vintage dresses, and I thought this is really cute. I like this. Their backing fabric, I think, was fabric that looks like a cross stitch sampler. I'm not really a sampler stitcher, but I have made dresses. So I made my own wedding dress too. So this is more me, and I love all the different colors in this. So that'll be the backing fabric. And then the fabric for this outer border, which is still pale but has some color in it. Theirs is like a crochet look afghan, which again, I don't crochet, but I got this fabric, which is pattern pieces for dresses, which is totally something that I'm familiar with. And it's got green lines, so it has a little bit of color, but it's still pale, so it'll fit that area. And it kind of goes with the dress theme from the back. Moving in, I got the fabric for the background. I did this white with pink flowers and dots on it. So that'll be might be a little bit more busy than theirs, but I think it's still fine. I like pink. Theirs had like a tiny gray print on it, but I think I'd rather have pink. So that's cute. And then all my other ones are the colorful fabrics, and most of them have some sort of stitching related concept to them. This is the first one that will be the binding as well as some of the elements. It'll be this outside as well as like the S and some of that. It's got some cross stitches with a needle in the shape of hearts, so that's perfect. This is the inner border. It's got some little scissors, some pink, These ones are just two pretty ones. They're not stitching related. This one has an X, cross stitch X. It's, yeah, brighter. It's more of an orangey yellow. This one is just, here, let's do these two. These two are just some more flowery ones that kind of helped me get the color scheme that they were going for. And then this one is a Sewing Notions. It's a little more teal than green. So it's got cross-stitched lettering as well as cursive lettering and regular fonts with needlework terms on it, which is fun. And then this one is some gray with some cross-stitched little flowers. So yay! So everything had sewing or cross-stitch or needlework of some kind represented in there, except for a few that were just flowers because I needed some more colors. And then I also threw in some buttons that matched the theme of all the fabrics I got, because at the top of the sewing machine there's a few buttons right there. So I went ahead and got these so that it will match everything, and I'm so excited. So I really was tempted to start cutting and doing things this weekend, but no, I gotta show everything when it's all smooth and pretty on my channel, and then I'll start cutting eventually. So I think the first part is this star, so that's what I'll be doing first, and they want it done on the 22nd of September, so I have a while to play. So if I get in a groove, I'll probably just keep going and share things when I'm supposed to share them, because I'd rather be ahead than behind. So we'll have to wait and see. Yay! So that's exciting. And you already saw Smokey a little bit at the beginning, so she's wandered off sleeping somewhere at this point. So I think I'll call it. And I'm excited for my birthday. I'll be turning 40 on Tuesday, next Tuesday, not tomorrow. And I'm excited about all the projects. Hopefully you'll see me doing a whip parade sometime this week, and another cross-stitching update on Wednesday of next week. And if for some reason the whip parade doesn't happen this week, that'll come next week, but I'd really like to get it done this week, so stay tuned. And in the meantime, happy stitching. Bye.